How's it going, guys? I'm Robert from Machado Visuals, and I wanted to give a quick review of the Easyrig Vario 5. I've had my eye on the Vario 5 for a while now, and I was recently able to pick one up from NAB last month. The folks over at 16x9 were able to set me up with a floor model, and I was one of the first to receive their new ball joint quick release system. It comes with a 5/8 and 1/4 inch option to screw into the top handle, and operation is super quick and simple. You just drop the hook in and you're locked. The only downside to this hook is that you need a 5/8 or 1/4 inch mounting point on the top handle, but this usually isn't an issue. Just make sure that you can mount the ball joint near your camera's center of gravity. The Vario 5 is cool because it can support a range of 11 to 38 pounds, which is adjustable from an Allen key that slots into the back. Finding the right counterbalance is super important so you're not fighting the Easyrig and you're able to change the camera height really quickly without a sweat. I opted to get the Gimbal Vest rather than the Cinema Vest because it's a little bit more comfortable for me personally and gives a lot more support. A lot of people come up to me and ask me how the Easyrig stabilizes footage, and it actually doesn't. The Easyrig was designed to take the load off your shoulder and back and onto your hips and legs. Since the camera is being supported by your hips, any lateral movement will directly transfer into the line that's carrying your camera. You can obviously use the aggressive handheld look for creative reasons, but it is much harder maintaining a steady shot while moving. The Serene arm combats this by eliminating excess motion on the vertical axis, making it much easier to use while walking or operating with a gimbal. One of the biggest reasons I love the Easyrig is how comfortable camera operating becomes. My rig can get pretty hefty depending on the configuration, and no matter how comfy your shoulder pad is, it's still 20 plus pounds sitting on your shoulder for hours at a time. I recently shot EDC Las Vegas with the Easyrig, and I noticed that my energy levels were so much higher than previous music festivals I've worked. I would end 12 plus hour days feeling absolutely fine, and my back and shoulders weren't totally wrecked. Prior to owning the Easyrig, on longer shoot days, I would actually end up giving myself longer breaks or finding excuses just not to film more B-roll because my body was so trashed and strained from supporting my camera. Being able to end entire shoot days without being totally physically exhausted makes the Easyrig worth it alone. But the Easyrig is so much more than just making camera operating more comfortable. It allows for new exploration with camera operating itself. You never really see handheld movement from the hip level unless you're on your knees, which obviously limits your mobility. Depending on what you're shooting, sometimes the action isn't at eye level, sometimes it's down at the hip. This is particularly helpful for filming people that are sitting or doing a lot of work with their hands, and being able to quickly adjust the camera height to the same level that the action is adds a completely different dynamic rather than just tilting down. It also helps add a lot more depth to your frames since your background is generally much farther than the ground. This has probably been one of the most valuable additions to my kit and almost always goes out with me every time I shoot. I definitely recommend checking out Evan Boyster's Easyrig video on YouTube. He's got some phenomenal tips on how to operate with one, and it's actually helped me out a ton. Hopefully this video was helpful in some way. Special thanks to Jeremy for capturing some of the awesome behind the scenes footage at EDC.